I've preferred Android phones for nearly a decade, but the iPhone 11 Pro is my favorite phone for 2019. And that actually sounds like a good title for this video. My first foray into Android was back in 2011 when I owned the Galaxy Nexus, and I loved it. It was so different than my iPhone, and I think I had maybe an iPhone 4 or 4S at the time, but I was able to swap the battery. It was so much more customizable, and actually ever since then, I've owned every Nexus device after that. And then following every single Pixel device after that. Not to mention all the other Androids, the Motorola's, the HTC's, the LG's, the Galaxy's, the OnePlus's. I could go on. And I've owned almost every iPhone in between that time too, but it just never made that top pick for me. But this year, for 2019, the iPhone 11 Pro got a lot right. It checked off a lot of things on my checklist that the Pixel 4 couldn't. But let's start there, because the reason I'm even bringing up the whole Nexus lineup, or now the Pixel lineup, is because of its clean UI, and that's a huge priority for me. No bloat, no third-party duplicate apps, you know what I mean? You're not seeing two messaging apps on the same phone, no extra add-on assistance, just Google hardware with up-to-date Google software. And I mean, that kind of clean UI with no bloat is what makes the iPhone appealing for me as well. But when I compare the iPhone 11 Pro to the Pixel 4, it does leave a bit to be desired. If you want to talk about build quality, the iPhone 11 Pro has a more premium build quality. Could that be subjective? Sure, but I'm guessing that if you asked most people, they'd probably tell you that the iPhone 11 Pro has a better build quality, a better feel to it, a more premium feel. The volume rockers, the power button feel more high-end, more tactile than what I have on the Pixel 4. If you want to talk about display, the display on the iPhone 11 Pro is excellent. It gets super bright in sunlight, and I can't say the same for the Pixel 4. You know, I live in Southern California now. It's almost always sunny out, and there are times when I remember I would be outside and I would look at my Pixel 4 and I'm like, that's as bright as it gets? And I feel like if I have to ask myself that question, that's a problem. And I know the Pixel 4 has a 90 Hz display, which is great. It makes things look smoother, but I don't think it's a night and day difference. I really don't think it's a deal breaker. Not to mention the fact that it's not activated the entire time anyway. So let's talk about the battery, which is probably the biggest crutch, the biggest complaint for the Pixel 4. When I plug my iPhone 11 Pro, when I unplug it first thing in the morning, I can go through an entire day, sometimes a day and a half, off of a full charge. I don't have that luxury on the Pixel 4. Almost always, by the time I'm getting home, or sometimes even before that, I'm already looking for a power source. These are things that I feel in 2019, almost going into 2020, that I shouldn't have to worry about, right? I shouldn't have to worry about my display not being bright enough in the sun. I shouldn't have to worry about not having enough battery to get through my day on my phone. Okay, so let's move on and let's talk about cameras. As far as the last 2 years, I would say that the Pixel 2 and the Pixel 3 probably had the better camera. Maybe not for video, but for photos, and that's usually what I was using it for at that time. But it's different for this year, and the iPhone 11 Pro gets the crown for 2019. Yeah, the 11 Pro has that ultra-wide shooter that the Pixel 4 doesn't, and that's actually a really big glaring gap for the Pixel 4, but even if this ultra-wide lens, this ultra-wide shooter was not in the equation, the iPhone 11 Pro still is the better camera phone. Overall, the iPhone 11 Pro's photo quality has been excellent. Video quality as well, video stabilization, pretty much a great all-around camera. And I've made a ton of videos comparing the camera quality on both of these phones, so if you'd like, I'll throw a card up, you guys can take a look at that. There's a whole playlist of videos that I've made so far in like the last week or two, so check those out. But don't get me wrong, the Pixel 4 is no slouch. It's still an excellent shooter. It's just when I compare it to the iPhone 11 Pro, the 11 Pro gets the edge here, especially, which is surprising for me, especially during my tests, is that The 11 Pro beats it out in low light, in night shots, and that's what the Pixel 4 was excelling at, or the Pixel lineup, especially for the 2 and the 3. The Pixel 4 does a better job in portrait mode though, so even when I'm comparing the two, they're not perfect, not through and through, there's no way. But as far as like multiple categories go, usually the iPhone 11 Pro is the better phone here as far as camera quality. Otherwise, I feel like performance has been pretty solid on both. I know people complain about RAM management on the Pixel 4. Maybe I'm just not as much of a heavy user, so it's not something that I notice. What else? As far as sound quality on both are excellent. You know, I'd pretty much say they're on par with each other, but I haven't really tested it out that much, but I'm pretty happy with both. As far as UI, I still give that to Android. I like their notification system better. Again, I like their customization. You know, I get to have a clean home screen instead of having a boatload of apps on like, this is what I have to see every day and that's not for me. But I feel like almost everything app-wise that comes on Android also comes for iOS. Gmail, Google Maps, Google Keep, Google Docs, you guys get the idea, Hangouts. So for Face ID on the iPhone 11 Pro, I feel like this still works marginally better than the Face Unlock on the Pixel 4. I mean, there's still that problem where the Pixel 4 will unlock your phone even if you have your eyes closed, but even if you take that out of the equation, I feel that my 11 Pro unlocks my phone a lot better. Like, I don't have as many issues unlocking that as I do on the Pixel 4. It's not by a lot, but I still feel like the 11 Pro does it better. Okay, so I don't know what happened. Part of my video got messed up and I only had 2 more points that I wanted to put across, and I'm not gonna sit there and redo all of that again. So right now I'm just recording on the front camera of my iPhone 11 Pro. But the 2 things I wanna talk about are haptic feedback. So haptic feedback on the iPhone 11 Pro and also past iPhones have been great. It's always been a pleasure to use. And you know, this year it's no different. I know that as far as Androids have come, they've been closing that gap, but still, the iPhone 11 Pro comes out better when it comes to haptic feedback. And then lastly, I wanna talk about price. I didn't wanna leave that out because that's such an important thing too. So the iPhone 11 Pro at $1,000, overpriced, way overpriced. That's how I feel about it. The Pixel 4, $800, also overpriced. But at least with the Pixel 4, you can get it at a discount because it's usually not that price. You can get it at like $100 off or $200 off, maybe more than that. I don't really keep up with like the price changes all the time, but yeah, those are the 2 points that I wanted to put across before I ended this video. For some reason, it got the very last part of the video proper, so I'm gonna bring you back to that. But if you're like me and your top priorities are a clean UI, lag-free performance, a great display, a great battery, a great camera, timely updates, then, well, the iPhone 11 Pro is the best phone for 2019, at least for me.